On this part, I have a pocket that has a 100,000th radius fillet on the bottom and a 3/8 radius on the sides. When I click the Extract Machinable Features icon, CAMWorks recognizes the rectangular pocket and is assigned a rough finish strategy. If I were to generate an operation plan at this point, I know that CAMWorks would create rough mill and contour mill operations with a flat end mill. Instead of doing this, I'll take advantage of the custom strategy I just set up, which calls for a hog-nosed end mill on both operations. To do this, I'll right-click on the Pocket feature and select Parameters. Here in the drop-down list, I see the custom strategy that I set up in the database. I can also see that the size of the pocket falls within the criteria I specified in the database. When I click OK and generate an operation plan, I can see that the rough mill and contour mill operations with the hog-nosed end mill have been added to the operation tree. At this point, I'll create toolpaths for the operation. What if instead of using a zigzag pattern for the rough mill, I actually wanted to use a pocket in pattern, and I wanted this change to apply to all pockets with the custom strategy I set up. When I was setting up this strategy in the database, I showed you a dialog box where I could make this adjustment along with all of the other operation parameters. Instead of making these adjustments in the database, I'll show you how you can make these adjustments right here in CAMWorks. I'll right-click on the rough mill operation to edit the definition. And under the Roughing tab, I'll select Pocket In. I'll click OK and see the preview is updated. Additionally, I'll add a bottom contour operation for my custom strategy. I'll right-click on the part setup and insert a 2.5 axis operation. I'll select Rectangular Pocket from the Feature Selection box and click Next. I'll uncheck the Use TechDB Defaults box and instead copy my other contour operation. By selecting this, I'm copying the same strategies from my other contour operation, so I will already have the hog-nosed tool active for this operation. When I click the green check, the Operation Parameters dialog box pops up, and I can see the hog-nosed end mill is active. Next, under the Contour tab, I'll select Bottom Finish and click OK. In the operation tree, you can see an additional contour tool has been added. To save these changes I just made to apply to all pockets with my custom strategy, I'll go back to the feature tree, right-click on the rectangular pocket with the Solid Professor strategy, and select Save Operation Plan. I'll choose to overwrite the existing feature condition and click Check. Now, when I go back to the technology database, look under Mill, Features and Operations, Features and Operations again, go to Rectangular Pockets, and find the one I added with the Solid Professor strategy. When I activate it, right away you see the additional contour mill has been added for the bottom finish. And when I open the operation parameters for the rough mill, I see the Pocket In pattern has been saved as well. This was just one example of how you can set up custom strategies. Luckily, most of the same principles apply for other types of features, so you shouldn't have too much trouble.